depression really kicks you in the guts. You know, it makes you feel so alone. I need help was 3 of the hardest words I've ever said. Not anymore! There's definitely 4 days in my life that I'll never forget. You know, both my kids being born are 2 days. The day I got married is one of them, and then the day of my suicide attempt was is definitely up there.
At 30 years old, Patrick attempted to take his own life after years of suffering from depression.
One of the things that I sort of look back on now is how much of my life I was wearing a mask. There was no medical support or medication when I was growing up. I never brought anything up because there was nothing to bring up. There's that feeling of being a burden on my parents.
No one ever considered 10-year-old, your 15-year-old to have a mental issue because in our days, what would they have to be depressed? What would they have to be depressed
but
about?
Then what signs were you looking for?
But,
we were ignorant. Yeah. We were ignorant to it.
We wouldn't have thought Patrick had depression. He was always the life of the party. You know, if you're at a wedding, he's the one out in the middle of the dance floor dancing. You know, it was always look at me, look at me. You know, just when he told us, we were just dumbfounded.
When we started dating, Pat was very happy-go-lucky. Pat has never been someone who showed any symptoms of being unhappy.
Patrick started dating Cara when he was 21. They got married and had 2 children together. All the while, Patrick never let on how he was feeling to his friends and family.
Male depression is very much taboo. I had thought about taking my life previously. It was one of them things that I just thought was a natural human emotion. I had these constant fighting with my head saying that I wasn't good enough. The wife and the kids would be better off without me. But I also, you know, it was a suicidal thought, it wasn't a suicidal plan. So, you know, I never planned on going through with these thoughts until that one day back in February 2015. And that's when I made that decision that it's time to go. It's time to rid the world of this burden that is me. The day of my attempt was sort of a moment of clarity for me, in a way. You know, I'd been given 2 days off work because I was sick. I said my goodbyes to my wife and kids. I look back on it now and I'd kiss them that one extra time. You know, I'd give them that cuddle for that little bit longer. Think that, you know, deep down I knew that that was my final goodbye to my wife and my kids. I attempted to hang myself. I sort of look back at it and I get this like spine-tingling moment when every time I talk about it. I couldn't do it. It was sort of like I got this beautiful light in my eyes and I just had this moment. Like it was one of the most beautiful moments. And you know, everything just sort of kicked in and I sort of looked up and went, what the f am I doing? I cried so much, you know, it just didn't stop, and it was ugly cry, you know, there was snot and tears and the ugly pulled faces. But I'm so grateful for having that ugly cry, because if I hadn't have had that amount of tears, Cara wouldn't have known that there was something wrong. Cara wouldn't have asked me if I was okay.
I was pretty angry the moment that Patrick told me what he had tried to do and that what was going through his mind. Instant reaction, which might be right or wrong, was anger, because I couldn't believe that he was thinking about not being there for us. And I couldn't help but be angry at him for not wanting to be around us. So it was a real shock. More than anything, I was shocked when he told me what was going through his mind and what he'd tried to do that day while we went home.
One of the hardest things I've ever done is tell my wife that I tried to take my own life. It was hard, it was really hard.
I know I don't have to worry anymore. I'm sick of worrying. The day that Pat spoke to me about everything was basically the first moment that I knew anything was wrong. It's still hard to talk about it. Even though it's been a while, it's still hard to try and think about everything that happened and remember it all without getting upset. So I don't know what I'd do without you here.
You don't have to worry about that. They're done. Jab. So when you like that, jab. My kids, for a long time, I didn't tell them what was going on. And then I thought, you know what? They got to learn. And I told them. I didn't go into detail about what had happened to lead up to it, but you know, I told them that Daddy has a mental illness. Try again. Wrong hand. 1, 2.
Well, when Dad's not well, we try and take care of him, and we want to get him, and we want to make him better. If he doesn't feel very good, we give him a drink of milk or water.
It wasn't until I had an anxiety attack, which led me to be taken to hospital, that I finally decided to open up and tell people. The feeling I got from opening up and talking was mind-blowing.
It was then that Patrick decided to start an online network to support men that are struggling with their own mental health.
I'm the founder of 3 Words Mental Health Awareness. It's an online help basically for people that battle mental illness. They can come and they can have a chat and do their thing. I need help was 3 of the hardest words I've ever said. That fear of you know, being put in that radar of a wuss and stuff like that.
And I guess what I probably don't say to you enough is how proud I am of what you've accomplished out of all this. And how positive it is that we've all learnt so much out of a really negative experience. You've got my 100% support in everything that you're doing, and I love you very much.
I love you too. Speaking up may or may not help that person, but I know it's definitely helped me, and I hope it can help anybody out there that is in need of help. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Perception of being a man really needs to change. It's you know, we get told to man up. We get told to toughen up. Don't man up. Don't toughen up. If you want to be tough, express your emotions.